Hello everybody, I'm Katharina Rohrer, Managing Director at Buchinger Wilhelmi in Marbella, and I have the great pleasure to be able to talk today to one of our patients who has just finished our 10 days fasting program here at the clinic for the first time. So this is Lea Sophie Kramer. Thank
Hello.
you for spending your time with us.
Yes.
It's a great pleasure. And you were just about to finish your 10 days fasting program. You are at the third day of your readaptation. So you're back on solid food again after 6 days of fasting, no?
Exactly.
So congratulations for that at first. And what I first would like to know is what motivated you to come here to this clinic and try out this fasting program for the first time? Because of course, I guess you seem very fit, healthy, not overweight at all. So why did you want to try it out?
Well, I remember I always had a coworker who was always fasting in January, and I always thought I could never do it. Never. Like, this is not for me. I'm addicted to food. I love food and so on. And then I did my first juice cleanse, I think for 5 days maybe, at home. And I really liked it. And especially I really liked the focus it gave me, the kind of coming back to a state where I could set up again my food system and what I want to eat. So it was really a good feeling. Then I tried it again and again. But it was still, during a hectic day, busy, juice here and there. So it wasn't so easy to fit in the day. And I definitely didn't change anything else. Like, I was living a busy life, working all the time, 2 kids and so on, and drinking juice, but that was mainly it. And so when I saw your offer, I thought, okay, this is actually where you can feel the whole fasting process with all your senses and not just the food, but actually also calm your whole body down and really try to work on inner topics, on getting back to a stable state where you're like, okay, this feels nice. That's why I wanted to try it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, I can imagine it's quite different. No? So you had already some experiences with 5 days of fasting with juices, and you said you wanted to try the with all the senses.
Yeah.
So how was the experience then here compared to the 5 days juice cleanse that you tried before?
So it was definitely way more intense. I have to say, it's less calories, much less, even than the juice cleanses. So I really realized that my body needs kind of a little bit more calm and yoga, stretching, Pilates, that's all okay. But in the beginning, I also didn't do like crazy training sports because I was like, okay, I realized, like, I really felt my body this time fully because I was focusing on it as well. And I do have to say that from kind of stomach and bloating and so on, it just feels so nice. Like the feeling you have in your body is so calm and relaxed and enjoyable. And I really don't want to ruin it this time, because that's what I also have to say. The last times I bounced back quite quickly on like not as well habits maybe. And I think this time, because I took it so seriously now, I really want to keep this feeling. I want to keep this healthy feeling I currently have, which means I'm not going to go eat crazy stuff, at least for the next days, I really hope, and try slowly getting back in the routine. So it was definitely a very different experience. I really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which for people who haven't done it before, I think this must sound crazy, no? That you say it's really enjoyable. This is like, no, okay, not eating, how can it be enjoyable? But you say it's because of a sense of feeling, no, that you received, through the not eating and fully resting and cleansing yourself.
And I do have to say, I mean, I think the soups you have here are amazing. I was so looking forward to the lunch and dinner soups. And I didn't even feel so much like I was not eating, because I enjoyed them so much, even though they're liquid and really watery, right? But they tasted so good. So I really think it was easier than I thought, because I was warm with the soups. I had a structure in the day. There's a lot of activities you do, so you don't really think about it the whole time. You're just trying to make yourself feel good in different ways. And so, it was definitely way more enjoyable. What I did feel though now, starting to eat food again, is if I would say before, my energy level on day 6 of fasting was back from 10 to 10, like 10 of 10. But then when I started eating food, I was like, okay, this is like 12 of 10, you know,
Wow.
like this is definitely different. So what I do feel is my energy level is in a different state. Before it was more relaxed, more calm, and now it's a little bit more like active again.
Yeah, this was something I wanted to ask you because you're a very successful entrepreneur. You have a lot of projects, more a board member. You are a popular talker. Yeah, you were listed in the Forbes list, 30 under 30. And you're a mother of 2 kids as well. So I guess your life must be very, very busy normally. And how did you find the time to do this? And did you work during your stay here? Yeah, this is something very interesting.
Yeah, so in the beginning, I really didn't work. I mean, first, finding the time, I was looking at the times and I was seeing like, okay, maybe in January I can ask my partner if it's okay because of the 2 kids. It's obviously quite heavy if you have them alone. And then with Corona now and so on, it's all difficult. And I was like, I really want to do it. And then he was like, sure, you do it. So that was then done. And in the beginning of the year, the first weeks of January, nothing really starts yet. Like everybody is getting back from their holidays, starting their projects and so on. So it's quite calm and slow. I realize now it's different. My mailbox is fuller, but in the beginning it was still easy. And I didn't work. I didn't feel like working. I told everybody I'm going to be responding in like more or less 10 days. And now it changed completely, like since I'm eating again, because I feel super well, and I have my own energy back. So I just had a lot of ideas I wanted to get out and really kind of like kickstart the year more or less, because I was here. So I think it's like a perfect start in the year, and I do think it helps with the creative process as well. I think for me it's a little bit time lagged. It's not during the fast exactly, because my body and mind is just around Pilates and those things, so nothing else happens. But later on, I can definitely see that all the creativity is coming back.
This is interesting as well. So you would say maybe it's not the time to work very focused on a project, but you see you are getting already ideas. No, you're seeing that something is happening in your mind, and then after this you will be fit and strong and
exactly.
Okay to develop it. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any experiences or any insights, something you learned about yourself that you're taking back home? Something that you...
Well, I definitely think I need less food than I usually consume. Like my body feels, my stomach feels so much better when it's not so full. And I do have like bloating and it hurts and like it's not really a nice feeling usually. But seriously, I always thought that's just
normal.
The way it feels. And now I'm eating, and now, I mean, it's the 3rd day, so we're eating more or less normal, obviously kind of very good food and less calories and so on. But the portions are, are normal portions. And it feels so different and so much nicer. So I think that's something I'm really taking with me. Also the whole way of kind of preparing food, looking at nutrition, really, I thought it was super interesting looking at kind of the blood values. We obviously had a blood test here, so you can see kind of how well you're doing, and you know that you're influencing your blood, hence your well-being, with your food. I mean, it's like food is medicine, right?
Yeah.
So whatever you take in goes somewhere in your body, and it's going to show up in your blood. And I thought that was really interesting as well, like how you feel when you consume good food. Also in terms of preparation, I think for me, I cook like you eat a little bit raw food here. We usually cook food quite well through, also the vegetables, but they're not as tasty and they're also not as rich in terms of nutrients then. So I think a lot of different things where I'm like, this makes sense. Like it's not fully new, all of it, right? But it's more like practical and it makes sense and you're reminded and you're like, yeah. And then you feel that it actually feels good. And I think that's the only way you can really change, because you're not going to change if you get it only in your mind and you're like, I really understood it, great. But your longing is still for the croissant or whatever. You actually have to feel how good it feels as well. So I think in all of that aspect, I'm definitely taking a lot with me.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're saying. People say often that after a fast, it's much easier to change something in your habits, in your lifestyle. No, quit smoking, eat less sugar, do more sports, whatever. Change a habit after a fast is easier because first of all, you experience a good way, that you felt here, but then also it's like a new kickstart, a reset. No, it's like pressing a reset button and starting again from new. Getting used to new habits. So that's what most people experience here. That's interesting.
And then I think another realization, which is so kind of profound, so it's not even so crazy, but I was doing it with a friend together, right? And I just realized how different we are. Like people are so different. They react totally different to nutrients, to how much sleep they need, when they wake up, and so on. So just really, also with my children, they're very different from each other. So just really kind of taking that in again and being like, okay, my daughter almost eats no vegetables, which I hate. It's driving me nuts. But just like, okay, like I'm going to go through the whole list of vegetables and trying to find something which she likes and cook it in a way that she actually eats it. And so, not fighting against it, but being like, fine, we are really different. Like that's the way it is, and I can work with it and not against it. And I think that was so interesting because my friend, the whole fasting days, she was like so full of energy and every day like, I feel great and whatever. And I did have days where I was like tired, a little bit more like cold. And now we're eating again. She's like, yeah, okay, I would have enjoyed fasting longer, even more. And I'm like, yes, like,
that's amazing.
I love it. So it's just, and she's healthy and fit and so on. So just totally different reactions from our body. And I think that's just interesting as well.
That's very interesting.
And I think what was amazing is you always said from the clinic, like we shouldn't suffer. So fasting is not about suffering. And I think that was really good for me as well, because I knew when I was a little bit low and I, for myself, for example, got an extra yogurt and it changed immediately everything. And it's like, such a small natural yogurt, it's not much. But this thing changed everything.
Made the difference.
For my friends, she didn't need it at all. So not suffering, actually enjoying the process, I think that's something which is really nice.
Yeah, exactly. That's very important here. No, that's why we have here the nurses here who ask you every day how you're feeling, to really somehow try to enhance your experience. Because it shouldn't be about suffering. Exactly. Did you have you said the first days, you had maybe you felt a bit lower, you felt a bit cold. Do you have any tips or recommendations for people who want to try it out the first time? Like from the beginning on, maybe the preparation, everything.
What really helped me is to stop drinking coffee way before. So I think I stopped a week before, maybe. I think 5 days, 3 days is even okay. But every time during my last fasts, I always get this caffeine headache really strongly when I stopped drinking coffee. And I wanted this to feel nice, so I did it before, basically. And I didn't even get it because I was fading out of coffee a little bit. So that was really good. And then I think the 2 days before we got here, we also already ate more healthy and less. So we definitely drank some juices, some soups, but we didn't really eat the pizza anymore. Like it was definitely less. And I didn't have a single moment or a day where I was like feeling migraines or like feeling so down that I couldn't. My downest moment was like a 7 from 10, you know, so it's still all
quite
quite
good
good.
still. Yeah.
So I always felt really good, and I think it was definitely due to the preparation. And then I think there's a lot of people who are like reading everything before and like really getting into it. It's just not me. I wouldn't do it. I think it's actually nice to be surprised. So I think it's always nicer to jump in the cold water and then learn how to swim. So for me, it's the better way. So I didn't really read exactly what we're going to do also with the colon therapy you're doing and so on.
Yeah.
I think if you read that before, you are getting scared.
Yeah.
If you're here, it's nothing. You know, like it's so easy and simple. So I think just also not trying to solve it in your head, but really trusting, okay, they're gonna explain everything, do everything. We get so many booklets and information, so I'm gonna figure it out once I get there. And then you don't overthink so much before.
Yeah. Don't make yourself crazy, no, with all the information from the beginning on.
Yeah.
Rely on
Exactly.
that it's a method which
Trust.
is well studied. There are a lot of people who will help you.
Yeah, just trust and know that if something is up, I mean, you have somebody 24/7 you can talk to, so they're gonna fix it.
Yeah.
And it's not, I mean, what you said in the beginning as well, right? If it's really, really bad, you can always stop as well. Like nobody's forcing you, so it's it's self-chosen, and it's nicer if you make it comfortable for yourself and not go too crazy in your head.
Yeah. I think both of the things. No, first of all, it's a natural process. No, we're going through if we fast. I mean, it's something that is within our nature. We're just not used to anymore. Animals are very much used to. We are not anymore. But it's natural. And if you really think you cannot go on, you feel very bad, whatever, you can always quit and nothing will happen.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no problem to fail in with this. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Are there any insights job-wise that you found here? Some ideas you came up with where you thought, wow, this was really helpful, because you said it's also a creative moment. No, you spent here. We have this House of Inspiration. We have meditation classes. We have talks. No, that can somehow enhance creativity. Was there something that you said, oh yeah, this made me really come up with some ideas or some moments?
So I think not in the way you were kind of trying to phrase that question, but in a different way. I was obviously also looking at how you run the business here, right? So in general, it's a business. You need to make money. If not, you can't pay anybody. So, and I thought it was so amazing. I talked to I don't know how many people, and they've all been here like 40 times, 50 times, 70 times. So just this feeling of like retaining customers and how you do that. And actually, I think the service level is so superb, which we in our digital world often forget, because we have call centers. We don't know the customer. We don't see them. Like we have emails we send. There's no post. There's no books and so on. So just, I think that was for me, again, this realization of this human to human connection and actually service mentality and seeing people and not numbers, not customer numbers. And seeing them also face to face and being there as a person is such a big differentiator. So I think specifically for people working in the digital space, like remembering that there's a person behind that computer you're messaging to, I definitely think it's going to have an influence on kind of the business models I'm looking at right now. Because I do think that we're kind of generally in a world where we have less and less interaction, where everything is so convenient. You know, you shop something, they deliver it to your door. You don't even say bye anymore. Like it's a person you never see again. You don't know the name and so on. It's just all so anonymous and exactly not the way it is here. And that was definitely for me like this moment of, okay, this is actually what it's all about. Also, I had the same realization when a lot of people here started to mingle and talk to each other, right? Because they're in the same process and so on. So they just have a natural interest of getting to know each other, which is also a very, I think, important part of the whole fasting, that you're not doing it alone. Like there's a group, you get to know interesting people. So I think that was like a main aha for me in terms of looking at business models and thinking about new ideas for the future.
Yeah. Yeah, we always say we are high touch, not high tech.
Yeah.
So that's the difference.
Yeah, exactly.
Completely different from the digital world and digital products and services. Definitely. Yeah, we're still very, very close to the human being.
And in the beginning, if you're a digital entrepreneur, right, you think, okay, like I'm working to the nurse every day in the morning. So I could just tell the nurse, feeling fine, testing my blood, whatever, like, right? It's a different, like, it's a different experience.
Yeah.
And I do think it's actually nice to have that friction and that human interaction and not everything in a push of a button.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, well, I think we could go on chatting the whole day, but we must come to an end. And well, thanks a lot for sharing all your insights and for opening up. And I think overall for our people who are watching us, who want to try it for the first time, who are maybe also very busy and active people, there are some very interesting information. So thanks a lot, Lea.
Thanks for having me.
And have a very, very smooth start back home tomorrow.
I hope so.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you.